Hey, welcome back. There's going to be a lot in this video. Not like a ton of notable events, but a lot of grinding. Like, a lot of grinding. This was close to 10 hours of playtime, and I'm going to do my best to condense it into a nice bite-sized chunk for you. So sit back and relax, and maybe get a snack, because it's finally time to go to hell. Now, I got really lucky with my nether spawn, like insanely lucky. Both a bastion and another fortress right after the spawn, along with a very close soul sand valley and a decent amount of nether wastes in between. Maybe a closer crimson forest might be nice, I don't think I've actually found one yet, but other than that, it's just a perfect spawn. I like to point out this is a random seed, and I'm extremely happy with it. I wanted to make this trip as quick as possible. The locals are very classist, and the lava doesn't look like it would be a pleasant swim. So it was in and out with some blaze rods and a quick side trip to grab most of the bastion loot. I found a couple of netherite scraps and the upgrade template, which I'll need for netherite gear later. Other than a mending diamond pickaxe, which I slapped up on my fortune pick, making it perfect, nothing of note. Sadly, no pig step either. I ended up spending pretty much all of my levels on my pick and some other things, and I didn't feel quite strong enough yet to work on clearing out that ocean monument. But in the meantime, I still needed a good supply of XP. So it was time for one of my more favorite early game farms, a blaze farm. But midway through gathering the materials to make it, I got incredibly sidetracked, trying to make a banner to have as my flag and to put on my shield. So I took a long side trip that involved kidnapped sheep, finding dyes, all sorts of other shenanigans over at Piss Village. I definitely needed to bring sheep to my island, but I had no grass, which means that sheep will never recover the wool. But I decided that was a future me problem, and tied a couple of llamas? Llamas? I didn't misspeak there, it says llamas in the script. So I tied a couple of sheep to the fence post outside the mushroom enclosure. One eventually got in somehow, I'm not sure when or how, really. Getting back to prepping for a blaze farm, I wanted a large amount of fire protection potions, and luckily I got some magma cream from the bastion. If you have fire resistance, blazes can really only hurt you with their melee attack, so it makes it significantly safer to construct a blaze farm. Yeah, blazes have a melee attack. I bet some people who don't play around much in the nether as much didn't even know that. But they do, and it can hurt pretty badly if you're not paying attention. I'm going to skip through a lot of the blaze farm construction here because most of it looks like this. Like, what the fuck is even happening here? I've got no idea, but after some close calls and a lot of struggle, I got the thing built, and got to decorating the collection area. Now, a wood floor in the nether seems stupid, and that's because it is, but it's also a flex on all the blazes who lit me on fire while I was building the damn thing. I also found a use for both the amethyst of failure from the last video, and some of the quartz I mined for XP. Hell yeah, first try. And the reason I spent hours working on a blaze farm was so I could begin the process of enchanting my gear. I wanted gear as perfect as I could get it without villagers, and yes, I know it's faster to just breed and farm villagers, but it's just so fucking annoying, and I don't think I want to mess with them just yet. I'll probably keep putting it off as long as possible. I might just get a villager with mending and call it a day for a long bit. The exploitation of Piss Village will come, just when I stop putting it off. So I killed blazes, and enchanted, and killed blazes, and enchanted. I ended up killing so many blazes, just so many. And to top it off, I ended up rolling enchantments on my helmet over and over. I just wanted on breaking on it, and I just could not get it. 3 AM me was not very happy about it. What the fuck am I gonna do with all of these? Like, there's no way. There's no way I'm gonna use... fucking... God. How many potions? That's so many potions. That's so many potions. It's like 3 times... Oh my god. Killed 2,000 blazes. I just went on breaking on my helmet. Please. This is the most unlucky I've ever been. I've killed like 1/10 of the population of the town I live in. What the fuck? In blazes, anyway. Not in people. Not provably, anyway. I ended up with pretty much perfect armor, and tools that are good enough for now, and I did finally get Silk Touch, and so with Silk Touch acquired, I decided it was time to fix the purple grass around my base. Don't get me wrong, purple is my favorite color, and I do want to eventually incorporate the mushroom part of the island into my final designs for the area. But for now, I really want some green around my house. And yes, I know it looks quick on the replay here, but this took so long. Like, so fucking long. There's definitely better ways to go about removing the mycelium, but I really wanted to turn it all into dirt first so I could record this sick time-lapse while I farmed up some wood. Which is what your mom... After this time-lapse, I took a break for a while. I was playing a lot of another game that I play too much, Dark and Darker, and between that and the GTFO blind playthrough I've been doing every weekend, follow me on Twitch, by the way, I was pretty drained. But taking breaks is good for pacing your Minecraft worlds. Playing only Minecraft for extended periods of time can really exhaust me creatively. Now I could just play anyway and work on things that are just grindy, but grinding without purpose just feels bad. But when I returned, I was ready to get some landscaping done, and that's what you've been watching while I went on that tangent. Do I overuse cherry trees in my builds? Yeah, but they do look good, and it's thematically appropriate. I even found out what to do with this little patch by my house, a nice little pond with some fish I stole from their saltwater habitat and shoved into a freshwater pond. Don't worry, they'll be fine. I also made a discovery about mushroom fields I didn't know about. So if you didn't know, each biome has slightly different flowers that can appear when you bone meal a grass, but most commonly poppies and dandelions. For some reason, I never noticed that on Mushroom Islands, no flowers spawn. Luckily, I had a bit of a collection from earlier, but it's another thing to add to my list of things to steal. After taking a look at how out of place the mushrooms and sheep looked, I decided to move them. Also, at some point I separated them and bred the sheep, I don't remember when. Luckily, I had been thinking ahead during that little grass time-lapse. I was both farming some wood and expanding a flat area to put a barn on. I was also tired of manually killing mushies and shearing sheep, so my first real automation project begins too. First I had to build the barn though, so I did a little measurements and just winged it. Took some banging my head against it, but I got there in the end. I didn't plan it, but I ended up building a little coop area off to the side of the barn. I'll eventually put some chickens in it and run a minecart under it to collect the eggs, but the first automatic-ish machine I'm going to build is an actual cow crusher. Mushroom crusher? Mushi crusher? A mushi crusher. It even included a little item elevator to move the drops up. But while building it, I made the decision that mushi exploitation will be ending on this island as of now. I carefully removed every mushi from the crusher and replaced them with cows. Where did the cows come from? Don't worry about it. No more mushis will be harmed. The next project in the barn will be one of the more involved ones so far. I want a wool farm that will produce every color of wool for me. But before getting every color of wool, I'll need every dye, and I'm missing a few. Additionally, I haven't done too much exploring yet, mostly out of the fear for my life, but with nearly perfect armor and tools, I was pretty confident that I wouldn't die, so I packed up some food and went wandering. And I got super lucky. I already knew where a jungle biome was, so cocoa beans were no problem at all. And the desert I was looking for, so I could get cactus for the green dye, turned out to be right next to where I was going. So my expedition turned more into a quick trip to the grocery store. Along the way, I was able to tame this little kitty with the first fish I fed it. I decided on naming them Tux. A little uncreative, I know, but the name fits. Not to mention the first time I laid down to sleep, Tux hopped up on me and they brought me a rabbit's foot. Truly a sign of good luck, as I spotted a desert temple not too far afterwards. I didn't get everything I wanted from it, no enchanted golden apple, sadly, but after digging around in the sand, I did manage to pull out some new armor trims and a couple of diamonds. I think archaeology is one of the more fun additions to Minecraft. It really makes the structures feel alive, and I love that desert temples have buried rooms you can excavate, even if it adds another goddamn tool to take an inventory slot. But yes, very cool update. On the topic of updates, you might have noticed that I play on 1.20.4. Why is that? Mostly because I hate change, but also because I have a deep-seated need to completely understand most of the mechanics of the game version I'm playing on, and I haven't really gotten around to reading all the patch notes yet. There's just so much to read. I also want to make sure all the playstyles and things I want to do are still going to be viable in the newer updates. Basically, I don't like change, but I can't wait to try out the new trial chambers, and having my first run-through of them being in hardcore will be super fun, but I definitely want to be more powerful first. I did end up taming a dog too, but I wasn't able to bring him home with me. I'll go back for him at some point, probably next episode, don't worry. He's safe where he is for now. I decided to put the sheep farm in the basement of the barn. It's not a murder dungeon, no sheep murder happened yet. It's just a normal dungeon for now. Sheep farms are not very complicated, especially with observers. Sheep need to eat grass to regrow their wool, so simply detect when they eat the grass and shear them. The design I quickly banged out also has a detection system for when the shears break. When the dispenser runs out of shears, the light turns on. Pretty simple. The hallway of sheep is a little more cramped than I wanted, but I didn't really notice until after I got the sheep in and the redstone wires, so it's probably gonna stay like that, honestly. The hill the barn was on was definitely not big enough, and it just looks so ugly sticking out, and there's no way I wasn't gonna cover it up. A bit of dirt, a touch of grass, and no one will ever know about the sheep atrocities underneath. Well, except all the fucking baws you hear from the floor. Might have to get a data pack that lets me silence mobs. With the sheep farm complete, I won't have to worry about wool again. Well, once it actually starts building up. So this video took a lot more time, and I suspect the next one will as well. Once again, it means a lot that you watched the end of the video. If you want to see my next video, why not subscribe? Next time I was going to be working on a totem farm, so I can never worry about my fragile mortality again. But after trying to build an iron farm and accidentally getting almost the entire population of Piss Village killed, whoops, I've decided to renovate the shithole into something a little nicer. Not out of guilt or anything. At all. Regardless, thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.